let's end off the show with a couple of topics I came up with. Favorite Undertaker moment. BRF, you go first.
Why you throwing this at me, PSP? God,
What I do.
you just you and
As
Champ.
Champ
I swear
calls
to God,
me, the New
you
Jersey
you
genius. I'm a
you
slickster.
you and Champ. I swear to God, y'all don't throw curveballs. Y'all throw knuckleballs. Y'all throw screwballs, bro. Y'all be hitting it. That's why y'all two the greatest, boy. I can't even knock it.
Great minds think alike.
You right about that, and let me tell you something. I'm glad I get to do this with y'all every week because y'all are the greatest for a reason, bro. Yes, sir. If I have to, like I said, Undertaker's on my all-time Mount Rushmore of wrestlers. So trying to pick one Undertaker moment is gonna be so hard. And I feel like the second Dead Man run of the Undertaker was better
Then the first one.
as far as like match. As far as like match quality was better than like the beginning of his like the first Dead Man run, and then the transition into the American Badass. Like his second Dead Man run, I feel like was his best.
The mind skills
what's his
are
best?
they were even much better than the first one. And I'm glad you mentioned about the second run with the Dead Man. You know how I view it? Shout out to Casual because he brought it up on my pod. Remember, he talked about how great Shawn Michaels' second one was better than
His
the
second
first
run was
one.
better than his first run. His second run was better than his first run.
Yes.
Yeah. It's that's why I feel like Undertaker and Shawn Michaels together are so revered, and that's why I mean, how fitting is it? Shawn Michaels' last match was the Undertaker. I mean, just how fitting is it? And we're talking about it. So, if I had to pick one Undertaker moment for me that stands out, my favorite all time Undertaker moment, because he's had so many amazing matches. But if I have to pick one, WrestleMania 28, end of an era, Hell in a Cell. I mean,
Triple H
yes.
Shawn
Well,
Michaels
and
as a
not
referee.
and honestly, not just that. I feel like one of the greatest stories WWE has ever put to paper and put on the camera for us to watch. And I've said it before, and I'm gonna say it again. From WrestleMania 25 to WrestleMania 28, the two matches with Shawn Michaels and the two matches with Triple H. Undertaker just basically putting DX in a bottle and just saying, I don't care how good you are not me. And just like the jealous, and it's just like the stories they were telling, like like seeing a little bit of hint and jealousy in Shawn Michaels of Triple H being that guy who's like almost like saying, okay, you're great, but I got the kill. Basically, you're great, but I got the killer instinct that you're gonna need to go up against the Undertaker in a situation like this. And the fact that Undertaker still just shoved it in his face and said, "You can have all the killer instinct you want. You're not me." and just and that ending of that Hell in a Cell when Undertaker and Shawn Michaels pick up Triple H after the match, and they embrace with each other. And you knew that's them putting that final bow on the Attitude Era. And Champ, PSP, y'all know we watch Attitude Era stuff. We know what the Attitude Era means to us as wrestling fans. And seeing them put that final bow on it, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't think he could have had any other three guys.
And you even thought that match, you thought Undertaker almost lost the streak. When Shawn Michaels hit him with that super kick, the sweet chin music, followed by
the sweet chin music into the eggs, that sweet chin music into the pedigree. I thought that was a wrap. Like I was watching, like I was watching that pay-per-view, and I saw it happen. And then Undertaker kicked out at 2. I swear to God, I have never heard a stadium on camera so loud after a kick out. After Undertaker kicked out of that, I've never heard a stadium so loud for a false finish. I've never heard a stadium so loud. because everybody thought it was over. And then just that whole that whole 4 year time frame, that whole 4 year journey with those three was just so perfect. And the ending of the Hell in a Cell, all three of them walking up the ramp, embracing on the ramp, just knowing what that moment meant for us. It was classic. You couldn't wrote it any better. And just shout out to all three of them, just how good they were for as long as they were, to like knowing that Undertaker and Triple H were like in the twilight, you might as well say they're in the twilights of the career, still going out and putting out a banger match like that. That hell, I mean, the fact that they even and 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 I think we even got more excited for it because I mean this is still PG era WWE, and the fact that they're bringing this Hell in a Cell match back, and with guys like Undertaker and Triple H, this ain't gonna be no PG era Hell in a Cell match. They finna beat the hell out of each other. This ain't finna be no PG era Hell in a Cell match. They finna get it in. It was just it was perfect for me. That match was so well done, and the ending was great, and just you can't say enough about how good that match was, and the ending to that match, and just putting a bow on an era that basically almost defines professional wrestling, like how fun it is, just the unpredictability of it. It was just great and well done. That's my favorite Undertaker moment of all time. Just that entire 4 year stretch leading up to that moment at the Hell in a Cell end of an era match was just well done. Chef's kiss. Just kudos to everybody involved in that.
Champ, what is your favorite Taker moment?
The Inferno match. The
Mm.
first ever Inferno match. That is by far the most diabolical. People talk about Hell in a Cell. When I first heard about it, Inferno match, I'm looking at my brother, God rest his soul. I said, they gonna really set nobody on fire, is it? And then lo and behold, they brought out the ring, and the whole thing was surrounded by fire. I'm like, and up until the end of the match, I still didn't believe that somebody was gonna catch a fire. And unfortunately, that was Kane. But for them to compete in a match, and there's a reason why there's only 4 Inferno matches in the WWE history, and all of them have involved either the Undertaker or Kane. I don't think we'll ever see an Inferno match nowadays. You can pretty much hang that up. But for you to be honest with you, it was a spectacular match. You had them going, I mean, for them to finish off that rivalry that started at WrestleMania 14 and to end it off on one of the most bizarre matches, arguably in the history of not just the WWE, but the history of wrestling, is flat amazing. And you got to see every element of Kane being a destruction machine, because remember, up leading up to that, he had hit Vader in the face with a wrench at No Way Out of Texas. So to see Vader come back, try to get revenge on Kane, and the pinnacle of that match is when the Undertaker bounced off the rope and you heard JR, the Undertaker, oh my God. When he flew, he was like he Superman through the air, and it's just like that was amazing. I mean, so the first ever Inferno match, man, it was that was great, man. Man. Hey,
No, I'm
JR.
no,
A
I'm
six a
laughing
six
because
eleven
BRF
three.
brought up. Remember when BRF brought up? I'm having an out of death experience, out of body experience.
Yeah, I remember that.
WrestleMania 25. That is still one of my all-time favorite calls. When Shawn Michaels kicked out of that tombstone and JR hit me with that line, I was just like, "Oh boy, this is if this match." And the fact that match did not get 5 stars. I mean, I'm not a proponent of the 5 star, but the fact that match did not get a 5 star match still baffles me to this day. I'm like Meltzer, what are you watching, bro? That's a 5 star match we just watched. How does that not get 5 stars? And how does a 6'11", 330 pound dude do some of the things that the Undertaker did as regards to like just gliding over the top rope the way he would do? And then it got to a point where he would just save it for like every WrestleMania and pull that spot out. I mean, it was just like the coolest thing ever. Like how, like, bruh, I'm My big ass wouldn't go through the second rope, let alone trying to jump over the top rope. Hey, I'm just keeping it a buck. Like I'm not flying through the. I'm not doing a tope suit. I'm not doing a tope suicida, let alone jumping over that top rope. Like what are we doing here?
Lord
What are we
have
doing
mercy.
here? What are we doing? Oh, I'm just keeping it a buck. I'm just
Now
keeping
I
it a
see why
buck.
Tim calls my show the highlight reel or whatever he calls it.
The highlight of Friday nights is
Like
here, ladies and
highlight.
gentlemen. Always pay attention. You never know what will happen. That is classic. That is
But I'm
classic.
telling you, bro, we keep you on your toes over here. Like,
One of my favorite Taker moments. I gotta admit this. Remember the promos he and Randy Orton did before WrestleMania 21? Remember, and also too, one of my favorite underrated heels, John Bradshaw Layfield, JBL. Remember SummerSlam when Taker lost the match by disqualification? And my favorite moment is when he chokeslammed JBL through the hell of that limousine.
ooh,
If I ever seen something said that's got to be painful, it was that.
mm-hmm.
Oh, let's not forget the last man. Remember the match? Him, JBL, I think it was No Mercy, and then Heidenreich interfered in that match.
Yes,
The last ride match.
Yes. Courtesy of Teddy Long, by the way.
Speaking of Teddy Long, do you remember when Undertaker kidnapped Teddy Long? Through that?
You know what? No. Hey,
Where to, Teddy?
I definitely this, man. Look, if you was a heel back during Teddy Long's age, if you was one of those, very, very, bad guys back during Teddy Long's reign as general manager, I will never forget this. And you know what I'm about to say.
I know what you're about to say too.
So tonight, you're going to go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
Okay.
Your night just turned from sugar to crap just that fast.
It was either Teddy Long. It was either that or it was the 6-man tag.
he always kept that in his back pocket. Tonight, you're going. It never fails. He moved his face to the left. So tonight, you're going to go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
And that just messed up everything, man. Big shout out to Teddy Long.
Two underrated matches from Taker I love so much. Remember Fully Loaded 1999 when he faced Stone Cold Steve Austin, the first blood match? Remember that was the end of an era. If Stone Cold lost that match, he would never have another opportunity for the WWF
That's
title.
one of my favorite Undertaker. Bro, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That is one of my favorite Undertaker matches.
Go ahead, BRF. Continue.
No, I'm just saying. I'm so glad you mentioned that. That is one of my favorite Undertaker matches. I mean, the storytelling was amazing. I think Fully Loaded 99 was it was the first WWE pay-per-view that I'd ever bought. Was Fully Loaded 99. It was the first one I purchased because it was DirecTV. They used to be $29.95 back in the day, and it was the first one that I bought with the remote on TV. And because I remember that was the triple main event. Undertaker, Russell, Kurt Angle. No, not that one. I'm thinking about something else. No. That was the run with The Rock and Triple H with the strap match with the number one contendership for the WWF title. Yeah, I remember that. I mean, just that match was just. I mean, when that happened, when they announced that match, I'm like, you knew it was gonna get overbooked, but they just did it so well. And then ultimately for Stone Cold busted Undertaker open, and then it was just like with the camera, and then the slow build, and then Earl Hebner finally saw him and called the match, and you're just like, man. I mean, you knew Vince McMahon wasn't on TV long.
Oh man, Jim Ross's commentary. Ring the damn bell. It's over.
Yes.
And another great match from Taker remember the Hell in a Cell match with Kurt Angle, Rock, Rikishi, Stone Cold, Taker.
Mm.
Remember when Taker threw threw Rikishi off the Hell in a Cell with the choke slam?
That was so great. I remember that one. Yeah, all those guys were in the cell wrestling, doing their thing, and then he throws Rikishi off the top, and then they see him hit the truck. They see him hit the truck bed, and then they're all just like, "We in the ring with this man." Like it was almost like it almost humbled them all. Like they got reminded, like, "Oh God, we are in here with the Undertaker, aren't we?"
They all saw the thing when Taker chokeslammed Rikishi. We were like,
Mm.
but he and Randy Orton, man, back in the day, they cut some hella promos. The hella promos, BRF, especially leading up to WrestleMania 21, and then they've had some great matches as well. Remember when Randy Orton, when he drove Eddie Guerrero, got arrested, so Eddie Guerrero's one of his low riders while Taker was in it, and then he smashed it. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember that.
Hmm.
I remember that. That Undertaker Randy Orton rivalry of 2005 was very underrated. It was very good. That I'm telling you, the backlash match for Randy Orton with Mick Foley put Randy Orton on the map, but the Undertaker feud really established him as somebody you better be paying attention to for the next 10, 15 years because you knew he wasn't going to go anywhere. So, because like when the Undertaker feuds with you like that and actually puts you over in a match, we know you're about to be somebody as long as you keep your head on straight.
Mm-hmm. And let's not forget him and Edge, Taker and Edge. Remember those? Remember
Yeah,
that? That was
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I think one of the best moves that the Undertaker ever brought out was the Hell's Gates. I love that move. That submission UFC move that showed you the athleticism and the evolution of hey, yes,
You
I
mean the
know I'm
Hell's
gonna
Gate?
step. Yeah, Hell's Gate.
The Hell's Gate submission.
Yeah, that
Oh
triangle
yeah.
choke. Yeah, the fact that he could add that into his repertoire as a wrestling move, number one, goes to show you how intelligent Taker was. I see how big of a wave this UFC thing is right about now. I got the UFC gloves and everything on, and I see how much of an impact that has on culture right about now. Let me add that and show not only how smart I am, but my athleticism, man.
Yeah, Taker used to play college basketball.
Yeah, he's a hey. People undersell these wrestlers, man. These are some of the greatest athletes in the world. Remember,
Mm-hmm.
Ron Simmons got retired from Florida State. Ahmed Johnson played for the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, there's plenty of football players, college and pro, that went to wrestling and was darn successful at it. So, we can't undersell these guys as athletes, man. Don't undersell them. But for him to add that late in his career goes to show you, hey, I may be seasoned, but I'm still evolving.
Right. And I think what also with Taker, it's a Texas man. When it comes to wrestling, you got Stone Cold, you got Taker, Shawn Michaels, Booker T. I mean, and then of course we all know Canada. Is Texas? Is it fair to say it's right up there with the wrestling?
Yeah, I mean, Texas was the count.
In, ter- in terms of their stars, you cannot argue. You can't argue it.
Yeah, you can. And remember, man, all of those guys started at one point at the Dallas, Texas Sportatorium, which was home for the Von Erichs. So big shout out to the Von Erichs for paving that way. Fritz Von Erich, rest his soul, and the Von Erich family. So because everybody, including Booker T and a lot of other guys, started at that Sportatorium. That was the center of the wrestling universe for a long, long time. So big ups to, and the Von Erichs put that on the map. So big ups to the Von Erich family. Rest in peace to the brothers and Mr. Fritz Von Erich. And hey, the Sportatorium was the center of the world, and that's what inspired all of those great wrestlers from Texas in order to go out there and pave the way for a lot of other Texas wrestlers. I mean, that sportatorium was special. And
Yes.
it's legend, it's flat out legendary. The sportatorium in Texas is the equivalent of what the dungeon is to Canada when it comes to wrestling.
And speaking of that, champ, shout out to Flash. He brought up that the Hart family, they trained Abdullah the Butcher,
Yeah,
which
I
is
didn't know
shocking
that.
to me.
Yeah, because he doesn't see the real reason why. This is no disrespect to Abdullah the Butcher, but the thing is, when you think about the dungeon, you think about submission wrestlers. You think about technicians. You don't pretty much think about the first Mick Foley before Mick Foley, which was Abdullah the Butcher. So,
Right. And also, champ, I don't know because you were having some technical difficulties earlier. BR, another great moment I brought up with Taker. Remember the Hell in a Cell match with Rock, Kurt Angle, Triple H, Stone Cold, Rikishi, and Taker. And when Taker chokeslammed Rikishi's ass from the Hell in a Cell, what were your thoughts about that?
yeah, that was a scary moment. I ordered that pay-per-view. That was the funny story about that. Bob said that's the last one you're getting this year. So, but yeah, by then it went up to $30. But yeah, that one was a match of chaos. If you want to see a chaotic match, and for Kurt Angle to come out that victorious, because I didn't think he had one chance of winning that. I thought one of the bigger stars was going to win that, but he's still the only person to ever win a 6-man Hell in a Cell. But when he tossed him off that cell, and I mean, it wasn't the toss, it was the impact in which he hit. It was the impact. I mean, when he hit, it was like Rikishi bounced, and you felt, and you saw the car, and you saw the truck move with all that hay on it, and it was just like, it's like, wow. It was just
Was
showed
it
another
worse than
side.
Mick Foley?
Depending on who you ask, I mean, that one was a scary moment. That was scary.
Worse than Mick Foley? No, because the thing with Mick Foley, you have to look at the only thing that saved Mick Foley was that announce table, and it really didn't save him all that much. So outside of the announce table, he basically went from the top to the floor with just the announce table basically making the fall not as hard. Like I said, I think what makes the Rikishi spot just as memorable were the faces of the wrestlers in the ring after he got tossed. That's what makes that spot so memorable. Because like I was talking about with you, PSP, and I'll let you hear it, champ. It reminded the wrestlers who the hell the Undertaker was, and it was almost like, it was almost like a realization, like, oh crap, we are in a Hell in a Cell match with the Undertaker. Yeah, he
It's
is
a
capable of
specialty.
this. Yeah, he is capable of this. Yeah, we need to hurry up and win this before he grabs one of us.
Hey, that one was a memorable moment, man. Like I said, the impact in which he hit, and Rikishi is not a small guy, and although he's not a small guy, for him
No, he's a
to,
big dude.
he's a pretty big dude, and for him to hit with that impact and the way he bounced in that hay and on that truck, it was like, like you're hoping that he gets up, but you're just like, if he don't get up and continue, you understand. It's like, man, that one was a memorable match, and for them to put in, and for those 6 superstars to pull that off goes to show you how great they were, because that was a match of chaos, because you really didn't know who was going to win, who was going to lose, and because I really thought Triple H was going to win that one, especially considering he had just wrestled the biggest Hell in a Cell of his career against the great Cactus Jack. A lot of those other guys outside of Taker and Triple H had never really been in a Hell in a Cell, so I really thought Triple H was going to get it, but Kurt Angle. But hey, Taker, hey, if Ain't No Joke was a wrestler, I would say it would have to be the Undertaker.
Absolutely.